This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Yes, there's a chill in the air, but oh, it's so nice and warm and toasty here in the studio. Hope you're staying warm in the process. Thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. We've got some exciting things to tell you about today, including the big announcement in Louisville recently. Georgia's Andy Paul named National FFA President for the upcoming year. We'll hear from Andy on how he plans to manage his already busy schedule. Also on the show, you hear us talking about them all the time, but what exactly does an extension agent do? And how can farmers take advantage of their services?
And then later, curiosity not only killed the cat, it also got the best of me. That's why I had to check out the National Peanut Festival in Dothan, Alabama, and see if their claim to being the peanut capital of the world was really true. All this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
And we began the show in Louisville, Kentucky, where history was made recently. That's where Andy Paul became only the third Georgia native and the first since 1997 to be named the National FFA President. Paul, of course, no stranger to Georgia FFA members. He served as state president from 2013 to 2014. Also took part in numerous discussion meets, including the 2013 state finals, where he finished second. However, now that he's the National FFA president, in addition to being a sophomore at ABAC, Andy says managing his time is about to become more challenging than ever.
Go back for a few more weeks. I'll attempt to finish up my semester early. And then after Thanksgiving, start training again. I'll take off my education for a year. I still feel like I'm kind of in a dream because I've been dreaming about this moment for so long. But I'm so excited. And I'm not sure if I ever wanted to sink in because I know that if I'm this excited about it, I want to carry this passion, continue my love, and the fact that I want to carry that through the rest of this year.
Andy still going through training when he spoke to us via phone from the National FFA headquarters in Indianapolis. His term is for 1 year.
In other ag news now, the honeybee industry is getting a major financial boost in hopes of improving the health of honeybees, due in part to colony collapse disorder. Recently, USDA announced plans to invest $4 million in honeybee programs throughout the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Now, why those 5 states in particular, you ask? That's because about 2/3 of the commercially managed honeybees spend their time there from June through September. North Dakota, by the way, has led the nation in the production of honey for the past 10 years. Well, meantime, Christmas came early for folks in Minnesota this year. About 500 onlookers gathered to witness the cutting of this year's U.S. Capitol Christmas tree on the grounds of the Chippewa National Forest. The tree, an 88-foot, 13,000-pound white spruce, took only minutes to bring down, but was carefully placed upon a semi in preparation for its long journey to Washington, D.C. It's scheduled to depart Andrews Air Force Base on November 21st for the Capitol, but not before visiting more than 30 communities in 7 states along the way. Well, for over a century, Oliver Farm in Pitts, Georgia has been growing traditional Georgia row crops, but now one member of the family is taking the farm in a new direction.
The Monitor's Mark Wildman recently visited with Clay Oliver, who is bottling high-quality cooking oil from crops grown right on his family's land.
In Pitts, Georgia, Clay Oliver and his brother Clint walk and work on the same land that has been in their family for generations.
Well, Oliver Farm is a predominantly row crop operation. We grow about 1,500 acres of cotton, peanuts. This year we had corn, we have soybeans, we have cows, so pretty diverse in our field crops.
The crops that are grown right off these dusty roads in Wilcox County have supported the family for over 100 years. But now Clay has taken his part of the farm in a new direction by bottling cooking oils pressed from crops grown directly off the farm.
We did sunflowers to start with. I grew a crop of sunflowers in 2012. And by the end of the year had produced oil from soybeans, sunflowers, peanuts, and pecans that we grew here on the farm.
The idea for creating this beautiful, bright-looking product actually was born during a very dark time on this family farm.
In 2008, my daddy passed away, and that threw us into a chaotic time. That's when the economy started faltering and fuel prices just skyrocketed, over $4 a gallon. During that time, there was a lot of talk about alternative fuel sources and, biofuels, and that got my gears turning on, hey, is there any way that we can grow fuel here on the farm? And from that, I came across the idea of cold pressing oils and making culinary oils on the farm, and that just, really, that had me hooked. They're making a product from farm to table.
Oliver Farm artesian oils are not just nice to look at, but are of high quality, and their reputation for quality is growing. The oils started out as a product discovered by those at local farmers markets, but has spread to commercial kitchens around the country.
Well, we got some really lucky breaks early, and through Georgia Organics, put us into contact with one of the top chefs in Atlanta, Steven Satterfield, and through his network of friends, it's just, exponentially increased the amount of chefs, not just in the Southeast, but we shipped to Oregon, to California, sent some to Brooklyn, New York recently. So that the word of mouth of the chefs and their interaction has been tremendous in building confidence that what we have is a gourmet type product.
Besides being able to purchase the oils at farmers markets and other retailers, the farm also has a website. Looking at these oils, you might think there is a very complicated recipe, but there is not.
Don't add anything to them. It's as old as time. Stories in the Bible of taking oil out of seeds and different crops, friction and pressure.
The hope for the future on this farm is the brand will continue to grow along with the crops, so future generations can enjoy life on these dusty roads in Wilcox County. I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Great job, Mark. Thank you very much. Well, still to come on the Monitor, take a trip with us to Dothan, Alabama, and see why the National Peanut Festival has so much more to offer than just peanuts.
Yeah, but first, it tastes like chicken, but it's the other ingredients she puts in there that has made the 2012 Flavor of Georgia Food Product Contest winner, Cindy Fulgham, a hit with the locals. Her story with the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. Stay with us. Fall is here, and people love to see the changing leaf colors up and down the East Coast and in the Southeast. But how do you know when and where to see the best autumn colors?
You don't have to spend any time trying to wonder if this is the right weekend to get out. Call our hotline. We do have a website that you can go to that you can get the best up-to-date information. We keep it up to date, and we're going to tell you when the fall colors are peaking in the area you want to visit.
Tidwell said many factors influence the changing colors, so the Forest Service depends heavily on your eyewitness reports.
And each year, depending on how the weather develops in the fall, that helps dictate the color changes. So not only do we have the science, but we also have folks out there observing when these colors are changing, so we can give you the best up-to-date information that's available.
And while fall colors can be enjoyed in many places, Tidwell admits some of the very best viewing happens in the National Forest,
where you have the variety of both the hardwoods and also of our conifers. So you get that combination of the brilliant, magnificent fall colors, also with that solid green color from our conifer trees.
For more information, go to fs.fed.us/fall colors or call the hotline 1-800-354-4595. Whether it's advice on how to fight disease, pest, or even Mother Nature, Extension agents around the state always available to lend their suggestions.
Yeah, Damon Jones takes a look at what these specialists do on a daily basis and why they are so important to the agricultural industry.
Whether you're taking care of hundreds of acres of farmland or just a garden in your backyard, County Extension agents are one phone call away if you need any advice on how to maximize yields or plant new flowers.
We work with farmers, we work with homeowners, we work with all taxpayers in the county, helping them solve issues, whether it be crop related, whether it be diseases, insects. We spend a good bit of time working with farmers like Wade to help them remain sustainable and hopefully overall increase profits.
And these agents are not taken for granted by the farmers, as they realize how important it is not to just get their opinion, but also have someone to run their ideas by.
It matters a lot. most time, you know, they're pretty much on base. You know, we just kind of I like to have somebody kind of looking over my shoulder, and I use the extension a lot, you know, to kind of bounce off of them what we're doing.
Because agriculture is such a diverse industry, and because they have to deal with a number of different people each and every day, extension agents must be up to date on a number of different topics, which means hours upon hours of research.
Bullock County has a $180 million farm gate value. 52% of that is coming from row crops and forages. So I'll spend a good bit of my time doing research on those projects, so we can get that to the farmers to help them make decisions in the upcoming growing season.
And it's big decisions that must be made in a timely manner, which is why it's so important to have these agents accessible at all times.
Well, you need to, you know, you need to have him, because when you call him, you need to come. You know, and a lot of times you got something that you need to do that day or the next day or whatever, and you can't wait. You know, Bill's been real good, and all the past county agents has been real good about when you call them, they come on. You know, it's not like you can't wait till 2 weeks, because your problem is going, you know, it's going to eat you up.
As for what Tyson says he enjoys most about the job, it's the fact that he gets to see different things each day while also building relationships within the community.
And no 2 days in extension is the same, and that's another benefit. Also gets me out in the county and the community, and I just enjoy working with people.
However, it's more than just people skills that are necessary, as extension agents are acting as teachers when giving their unbiased opinion on what steps to take. It's for that reason Tyson believes the more education, the better when pursuing this type of career.
Well, the first thing is you're going to have to get a degree, preferably in the ag field, and while you're getting it, if you're going to get into extension, we're in the education business, go ahead and try to get your master's too while you're doing that.
Reporting from Statesboro, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's show, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That's the Georgia Farm Monitor. Once there, you can browse the archive of stories. They date back 5 years.
Don't forget, once you're done watching all those great stories, keep on clicking like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page we have set up for you. If you have a story idea, or if you just want to leave us a suggestion or comment, feel free to send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed below. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Here's a question for you. What do you do after you've won a prestigious award with the Flavor of Georgia Food Contest?
Well, the Monitor did some digging and discovered how one Elbert County resident spends most of her time promoting her award-winning product, which can now be found in some Kroger and Harris Teeter stores. In the small community of Nickville, 20 minutes from the Georgia-South Carolina line, you'll find the winner of the People's Choice Award in the 2012 Flavor of Georgia Food Product Contest, Cindy Fulgham.
There was a piece of paper in my Bible, and when I opened it up, the paper, it had a scripture on it. It was Ecclesiastes 11:1, and it said, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." And that was the day before the deadline, but I felt really that was God's plan for me to try that.
Cindy is the creator of the Chicken Log. It's a chicken spread with the main ingredients all Georgia grown, but the recipe is a carefully guarded secret.
It's just the name of the recipe. It's honestly the name that's always been called, and it's like a cheese log, but with chicken in it. That's honestly what it is. But I think it says what it is. To us, it didn't seem different. To other people, it did, and I'm amazed at that because it was something very common for us.
She's been making the spread for her family and friends at parties before entering the food contest 2 years ago, and said once she won the contest, it helped her move forward with promoting the product.
The Flavor of Georgia is a wonderful opportunity for any entrepreneur who is wanting to try a food product that they're especially good at making, that they are serious about. It's not, you got to be serious about knowing that you want to go to market with it. And I think that it's a wonderful opportunity for them to showcase it and to see what the consumer and judges that are in that area say about your product.
Two of her biggest supporters and assistants have been her two nieces.
And just over the process, I think it's helped me and my sister, like with our social skills with people, and just like helping her promote her product has not only benefited her, but also us in the long run.
Well, we love being with our Aunt Cindy. She's always been with us, and she's just always helped us and been by our side, and she's always been overprotective of us and just everything. And whenever she asked somebody to be with her, it was us, because we're always there for her as she is for us.
Look for the chicken log in a deli case near you, or ask for it at your favorite grocery store. And by the way, registration for the 2015 Flavor of Georgia contest is underway. The deadline for entry, January 30th, 2015. You can find details by logging on to flavorofga.com or by calling the number on your screen. That is 706-583-0347.
All right, Kenny, great job. After the break, peanuts will be the main focal point. Whether you're a peanut producer in the Southeast or just a fan of agriculture, then there's something for you at the National Peanut Festival in Alabama.
But first, in part 2 of our Memories of Service series, we want to take time to recognize another Georgia farmer who not only did a service by feeding the people of our country, but who also fought for them during the times of war. This week, we hear from 90-year-old P.A. Grace of Toombs County, Georgia. A longtime member of the Farm Bureau, P.A. was drafted into World War II at the age of 19 and shares with us some of his military memories.
We had 6 mules and a big tractor. And I looked after the tractor mostly. It was all steel wheels, steel everything, old model tractor. We had threshing machines and reaping binders, which most farmers didn't have in those days. I went to school in Norfolk, Virginia. I helped build the USS Alabama in the Norfolk Navy Yard while I was going to school. I worked on it. It's on display in Mobile at this time. We landed in Le Havre, France. Went all up through France to St. Marie, Strasbourg, all in there. And we wound up in the Belgian Bush in the later stages of the war. The war was almost over now.
Jalen Hurd. From the highest level of college football to a high school soccer practice, we want to see our athletes play well and stay safe. It all starts from the ground up. A key factor in preventing sports injuries is the quality of the turf.
Yeah, there's a lot of athletic fields in the United States. Some people say there's as many as 600,000 athletic fields. And when you think of fields, you think of either Neyland Stadium, LP Coliseum, Wrigley Field. But really, most of them are low budget to no budget fields at churches, city parks and rec.
Dr. John Sorokin wants all fields to be safe. He was one of the featured experts at this recent Turfgrass Field Day, put together by UT Ag Research at its East Tennessee Education Center. More than 500 landscapers, golf course superintendents, and athletic field managers attended and got the chance to see samples of safe turf varieties.
A smooth, uniform turf cushions athletes when they fall. Also, it gives them stable footing when they run and cut. But it takes a lot of work. A really safe field requires constant maintenance.
You know, the 5 primary cultural practices, we have proper mowing, fertilization, irrigation, cultivation, and pest management.
UT Ag researchers say the safest fields are like this turf, weed-free and consistent.
The presence of common weeds like crabgrass and clover can reduce an athlete's level of safety by upwards of 50%.
Dr. Jim Brosnan says athletic fields should have a thickness and density to the turf.
I think everyone's been on a field that's heavily used and it wears out in the middle, that soil can become compacted, and that's a direct threat to the safety of the players.
Drops to throw. As athletes get bigger, faster, and stronger, there will be injuries. Touchdown, Tennessee! But if you happen to attend a sporting event this fall, take a moment to appreciate a well-maintained field. When the surface is safe, we minimize the risk. This is Chuck Denny reporting.
All right, Chuck, great job as always. Well, last but not least, for over a decade now, my dear brother who lives in Dothan, Alabama, has been telling me about the National Peanut Festival, which celebrates the year-end harvest in Alabama. Well, now that I cover agriculture for a living, his insistence that I do a story on it had reached an all-time high. So recently, I packed up the camera gear, loaded the car, and headed to Dothan to see what the festival was all about. First off, let me just say the Monitor has covered a lot of ground this fall. Georgia National Fair, Sunbelt Expo, you name it, and the Monitor was there. So it was only fitting I make the 3.5-hour trip to Dothan and have our presence known at the National Peanut Festival. First up, a brief history lesson with festival president James Etheridge.
It started in '38, was pretty much just a pageant type thing in probably a couple of 3 days, and then it eventually turned into the 10-day event it is now. And as time came, people wanted to participate, so we brought in, things, of course the carnival came, and then we came with premium exhibits and expanded that so the whole community could be part of it. So everybody is maybe not agricultural, but we theme it around agriculture.
Now, as far as first impressions go, I gotta admit I was pretty impressed, especially with the amount of peanuts strategically placed at every entrance. Mr. Etheridge telling me that the festival gives out roughly 12 tons of peanuts every year. My timing, however, not exactly ideal. Temperatures on opening weekend here at the Peanut Festival in the 50s, winds at times gusting up to 25 miles per hour, so probably the best place for this guy, somewhere inside. And dare I say, jackpot. Turns out the National Peanut Festival also puts on its share of quality livestock shows. Kendall Jones of nearby Abbeville, Alabama, has been showing livestock at the festival for some time now. According to Kendall, the competition is some of the best in the southern region.
This is a very good show. Lots of competition from Florida, Georgia. People come from all over. Pretty competitive show. They've got several breeds represented here, Angus, Hereford, even some Brahmins in there. So got a wide array. It's a really good show. I think a lot of kids do well. They learn a lot. It's kind of the first, it's in fair season. So you've got the Alabama National Fair in Montgomery, and then this fair is 2 big fairs in Alabama. So it's pretty popular, I would say, down here.
Agriculture as a whole in far as youth has kind of declined over the years, but we have the last several years we have expanded that and trying to push more in our junior shows, especially our youth. We're trying to make sure that people understand what agriculture means, because this is the heart of this community. Even in fact, we do have other industries, but agriculture is the heart of the Wiregrass area.
I find there's a lot of activities for kids. There's a lot of things you don't get to see in everyday life that are animals that she gets to enjoy. She's got a thing for zebras that they had over there at the petting center, and just a lot of activities, a lot of purchasing, buying, things like that going around. So it's a good thing the whole way around.
Yeah, and speaking of the whole way around, how about this line that seems to go on forever? All these people braving the elements for what many call the best fair food you have ever tasted, all courtesy of the Corn Dog Man.
He says he may just be the world's best corn dog. The Thomases, that's a tradition, been here at the Peanut Festival nearby as long as I won't say I've been alive, but I know for the last 40 years, the Corn Dog Man, it started, I can't remember the first gentleman, but Mr. Thomas that worked with him bought the business from him, and his family has kept it for, I know, for the last 30 years. And so they say it's the best corn dog you ever find, and if you go by the line, it must be.
Oh yeah, good times. James Etheridge telling me that during the busiest times of the fair, the line for the Corn Dog Man, some 200 people deep, Kenny. Just absolutely incredible. And by the way, big thanks to my brother Ed for holding the microphone that day. He did a very good job. I was very proud of him. We had a lot of fun together. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Now, here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a fabulous week.